proactively doing something else, we will just begin to treasure this world's treasures, which is satisfying for a short time. You got to love Hebrews 13. It tells us straight up that sin is pleasurable for a season. That's something I think I forget about sometimes, that maybe we can forget about sometimes. It feels good to sin. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. If it felt terrible in the moment to tell someone off, it wouldn't cross your mind, would it? But it feels good. I'm going to hear me roar, and I'm going to get me out there. I'm not going to be oppressed by someone. I'm going to, whoa. And then afterwards, it's not good. It ruins relationships. Sometimes, unfortunately, words get said that can never be taken back, can take years and years, or even never heal. By simple wisdom, we can avoid so much. So he says there in verse 4, he says, if you seek it like silver and search for it as hidden treasures. So he's taking it a step further. We talked about treasure once, but now he says, seek wisdom as if it were money. So that should hit home for all of us. I'm not calling you greedy. I have no idea what you're like. But what is money? Money is not inherently evil, right? The Bible says it's the love of money that is the root of many evils, or all evils, depending on your translation. Money is not evil. Loving money is evil. But what he says here is he says, for as much as you love money, you should give yourself to pursuing wisdom. I don't know if I've ever worked overtime for wisdom. Been like, well, I clocked my 8 hours of wisdom searching. You know what? There's a little more searching to be done, so I'm going to go time and a half and get this done. You know? But that's the idea, to have a value on it, that it's a currency. Our money buys us shelter and food and clothing and fuel and vehicles and entertainment and all sorts of things, right? Things that are necessities that allow us to live, and things that are recreational, that allow us to reset and to continue to be productive in life, right? He says you treat wisdom like that you need it to live. And we do need wisdom to live. You can go throughout life with zero wisdom and continue to stick your hand into a honey, or a bee's nest to get honey. You can keep doing that. And you can keep getting stung over and over and over again. And you can keep saying to yourself, I don't know why this is happening, which honestly I think for the most part is willful ignorance. But you say, I don't know why this is happening. You can continue to do that your whole life. But what kind of life is that going to be? Is it really going to be life? At the end of your life, would we really explain it, like, I lived a great life, a full life. I spent my whole life trying to get something I thought would satisfy me, but in the end destroyed me and my family. Who wants in? None of us. It's just not real. And then in this idea here, he says, seek it like silver. Seek it. Look for it. Literally aim for it. That's what it means. Or beg. It's translated, it's interesting, in the Old Testament, the same word is translated aim, beg, be concerned, demand, or be eager. That's the way the word's used in different places. But we're called to seek for it, to beg, to aim for it, like it's money. Because it is, but more valuable. It's eternal money. It's that thing that will help us in every situation. Think about it even in a relational context. And honestly, when I think of wisdom, yes, there's money decisions. There's all sorts of things. It could be job decisions or moving decisions or all, marital decisions, all the big decisions we have in our life. But for me, the most part, I think wisdom comes into play in my own life is relational decisions. Because I'm a big jerk. And there's times that I want to say something, but I know if I say this, it will have lasting effects, radical lasting effects. I know that and you, I'm sure you have forums where you have places where you get to talk, in your family, or amongst whoever, where you're at, and you know the things that you might want to say, that you're angry about, you're frustrated about, or whatever it is. But if you were to say those things, it would not grow the relationship. It would shrink it or destroy it. And so using wisdom, seeking and aiming towards wisdom, in the end, yes, it's a sacrifice of time and effort and tears and confusion and figuring out and growth and all. It's all of that. But the alternative is death and division and isolation. It's kind of a no contest when you look at the end. Lastly, he says there's search for it like hidden treasures. And it means to search is to examine or to ransack. That's just a cool word. You know, we all love secret treasure. I mean, I don't know how many times I've seen National Treasure, more than I'd care to admit, or The Goonies, or Red Treasure Island, or, whatever, all those stories. How many stories are there that revolve around the secret treasure? And you've got a map, and you're yelling "Yar" with an eye patch, and, the whole 9 yards. There's just something exciting about that. And when you picture hidden treasure, they're digging for it. Digging's not fun. There's no context where digging is fun. But there's worth there. Digging for it, looking for it, figuring out the clues. This whole idea of what's next, and we got this clue, and we can study this, and then we can search there, and whatever it might be. He says that we should be ransacking stuff like it's hidden treasure. Ransacking wisdom like it's hidden treasure. Speaks of like reckless abandon, tearing stuff apart, getting to it, doing what needs to be done. Again, I can't reiterate enough. Nobody is saying that this makes you more right with God or makes him love you more. Romans 4 is clear that as soon as we move to a position that says, I'm going to find wisdom, and then therefore God will love me more, we actually make God a debtor. That's the word that the Bible uses there in Romans 4. We say, God, you owe me. And that's a very precarious place to be. I've done X and X and X and studied wisdom and gone to church and went to Bible study and did kids ministry, and then you let this happen, God. That wasn't right because I did for you, so you owe me. That's a fool's errand. So nobody here is saying you do these things and then that makes you, get you in good with God like a good buddy. But what it does is it positions you to hear exactly what he has for you and then to walk in it, which is life.